I just make sure the camera is in the right position. Hi guys, I can see 5 people joining. Hello, Nuneka. Hi guys, I can see 5. I put the light on as well because I think the clouds are coming. Hello. Okay, we have Lori, Ilona, Nuneka, and Carmen. Okay. It's good moment to grab your cup of tea. I'm setting up all the possible ways of connecting with you so I can see our chat. It's good moment to grab your cup of tea. Perfect. I think we will have everything set up in a moment. Hello, Dorothy. Oh, you've got popcorn. It's going to be perfect. No. Okay. So let's say 5 more minutes and we are going to start. I'm checking if there is maybe somebody who needs help, but I think so far we are okay. Hello, Carmen, Sita. Hello. Okay. My tea. Well, I think we are almost ready to start. So I just make sure there is no voice on my other phone. Perfect. So hi, my friends. That seems to be okay now. So, hello, and we are going to start. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for picking such a lovely topic for our meeting today. The light on my face is really strange, but there's nothing we can do. So, we are going to do a bit of altering today. We're going to do some altered art. And of course, remember, this is going to be recorded, so you can come back to this stream anytime you wish. And I hope some of the tips and ideas are going to be helpful for you for your future mixed media adventures. Just let me know if you can see and hear me properly, because this is important. And if everything is fine, yeah, I was at the hairdresser's yesterday. I have a bit of the red now. So I have the, yeah, a little bit of the highlight. Well, highlight, I would say. I am not great at changing my hair color. I hate to have lighter hair, so this is very close to my natural color. And the only things I can do is like adding a little bit of something, because I had once something that would be called like, they're supposed to be the ends of my hair supposed to have different color. But the person who was doing it did it everywhere, including close to my face, and I hated it. And that was the worst experience of my life. So I will never do it again. Never. I don't want to have light colored hair. I was born with black hair and I want to keep it. So we are going to do some proper altering today. I have fun object for you to enjoy. And we are going to start with just a look. This is not recognizing you as patron. Well, Dorothy, I think this system, which works here on YouTube, is not working properly. I can't figure out what to do. There was a special way of marking things, but the connection doesn't work properly. So if you don't see yourself as a patron, I can only apologize, because there's nothing I can do. I tried to force it to do so, but this app that's supposed to have the connection between Patreon and YouTube, so you can see yourself marked in a special way, and you know, they claimed it's going to work and it doesn't. So sorry, but you are very special to me. And I hope this is going to be fine. Like, the most important thing is you get the link to the closed and exclusive stream, and you are in the right place in the right time. So no worries. It is. It really makes a big difference. Well, a small difference when we have videos which are going to be open for everybody. So first of all, there's one important thing. I was telling you in my live show in the group that tomorrow there's supposed to be a challenge and a live stream for everybody, inspired by Magical Toy Shop, and that was the plan. But we have some things that we have to postpone. Just don't do anything. Don't do anything, because it's going to charge you extra money. Don't do anything, Dorothy, please. Like, there are two separate things. Joining on YouTube and joining on Patreon. They're supposed to work together, but they don't. So don't join, just leave it and relax. Okay? Please don't join. And we are going to postpone that, and it's going to happen next weekend instead. The problem was, well, part of the problem was the shipment of the new product. The shipment of the new product arrived earlier, and we were supposed to do proper social media and advertising. So I had to do quick preparation because these babies are just getting into the warehouse now. And hello, Carmen. So I had to do preparation and all social media posting about these ones instead of proper information about the event. And then part of my girls from design team, they're not, it's the first weekend in the back to school as well. It is not the best timing. So we decided to postpone it until next week. But next week it is coming for sure. I think Saturday, but I will confirm that all. And probably around Wednesday there's going to be proper poster, and you're going to get information and invitation for everybody, patrons and not patrons, everybody to join the live stream and the challenge Magical Toy Shop. But because you are getting the proper video on alteration, you're going to be in fact a little bit ready in advance, so you're going to see some of the useful tips and the techniques now. So the most important thing is what is really alteration, and I would say the biggest, the most important part of the project, which is altered art, is to use something that we transform with our art mediums and elements into something different. However, it is still recognizable. So for example, good example of the alteration is altered frame or altered box, and that means we take more like ordinary box. This is little suitcase, yeah, and using our art mediums we do change it into something else. It's a vintage paper suitcase. It belonged to Elizabeth Ayton in the past, I guess. I bought it on the flea market, and I used a range of the techniques to alter that, and now it looks like a mysterious steampunk box, right? Of course, there will be other objects. This one you've seen before. This was done for Art2Go, YouTube Hop. So something we organized with my design team. So we were altering packaging. So we were using real packaging to create some object that is going to be useful or just beautiful. And I decided to alter old tobacco tin. This was tobacco. Quite big tin of tobacco, also from the flea market. And what I did, I also used real brush, one of my older brushes inside. So there are two objects here. One is the tin and one is the brush. So alterations playing with the real objects to change them into something else. There is also some name in the art world which is called assemblage. Assemblage is like from assembling things together. It's kind of alteration and collage in one. But assemblage is more like grouping things together to create new meaning instead of just turning one object into something else. So the good example of assemblage would be this object behind me, this huge collage with the doll's head and parts of the radio made on the panel of wood. I assembled a lot of elements together to create the artwork. So that would be more this kind of art. However, altered art is a little bit, I would say, less demanding when it comes to amount of objects you have on hand, because you can just take one object, again, tobacco tin, and turn it into a beautiful frame or a box or just beautiful object you can put somewhere in your collection. And of course, the most important thing is that the shape or the specifications. Yeah, doll is creepy. That was supposed to be very creepy project, that one. So the specifications of the object, they really require some special techniques sometimes. So this is important to be flexible with your techniques. For example, this is just very simple jar, one of the Pebbles jars, and I was able to create very nice and shiny little box out of it. And of course, one of the biggest problem is to find the techniques which are going to match the shape. For example, stenciling is a big challenge. If you have something which is quite flat, like the box, working with the stencil is still possible, but most of the objects have irregular shapes, so that would be a big no-no. So there are some ways you can go around that problem. So that is looking like debossed or embossed metal. In fact, this is icing paste skin I made with the plastic embossing folder, and then I glued it on the metal, so it looks like it is stenciled, or it looks like it is in fact embossed in the metal, but it is effect that you just add to create the impression it is there. So anything that you can shape easily is going to be very good solution. And next important thing is how far you want to go with alteration. This is example of heavy alteration. This object is already made by Prima. This is my design, metal frame that is supposed to be used for creating dimensional projects. If you look inside, you can see there's composition inside. This is the class which is called Magical Teapot, and we learn how to create textures, how to paint it, how to create this kind of composition in the classroom. And this is completely makeovered. So this is completely repainted. You don't really see the original of it. I don't have teapot at home at the moment, but to show you the original color was like this. So this is frame I made at the same time. So this is a little birdhouse, absolutely cool, and I have to finally alter it. And you can see originally it was just like antique metal finish. So in the classroom, we transformed that antique metal into completely different look using paste, waxes, paints, and a lot of interesting stuff. So this is a complete makeover, very heavy. The same here. This was completely repainted. The same happened with this box. You can't see the original color of it. It was blue. But what I really love to do is to take original object and to keep as much of the original features as possible, which is happening here. For example, this color in the background is the original peeling metal color of the tin. I just loved it and I used it as inspiration for my project. I didn't want to cover that because the natural look of it was simply beautiful. I didn't paint the sides or the back of the tin. I wanted these elements to keep its natural beauty. Hello, Vasilis, good to see you. So what I did, I repainted parts of the front, which was white anyway, and then I kept as much of the natural color as it was possible. So there are two ways, depending what you have. I would say the more new and not so beautiful looking object is, the more likely we are going to repaint it completely. And great example was this horse. I'm sure you remember. The horse was also example of art alteration. You remember this was bright colored, right? It was bright yellow. And because this yellow was not really what we were looking for, we altered that into this night blue color. And this way we created completely different look, and we don't have to feel like it is not matching our idea. But you don't have to alter dimensional things. You can also alter books or notebooks. And this is one of the classes I was teaching as well. You can see there are crackles on the back. I was trying to create the feeling this book is very old, taken from the basement or from the bottom of the treasure box. And I used rust paste and I used crackle paste. So I tried to make the features of this book even more dramatic. It was old already. You can see this is very old book. Somebody was using that heavily. This was not me. It's 1891 from Madrid. So this is Spanish book. And somebody was studying it heavily. And there are beautiful notes inside. I'm probably going to use for something else. But the cover was very plain. So to make this object a bit more special, yes, it's in Spanish. It is. It's about psychology, logics, and ethics, I guess. And just to make it even more special, I just created the cover, but I kept the inside as they are because I love the results. Like somebody has handwritten notes inside. This is special object. So this would be example when you don't transform completely. And so was that teapot. This was again done for my YouTube hop with my design team. This teapot was originally white with a little bit of the gray blue top, so I didn't change that much. However, the construction of it required cutting this teapot a little bit. It is metal tin teapot, very well. This is original color, you can see white, yeah. And we are going to do something in similar mood today. We are going to do a bit of the alteration, which is like compassionate alteration. We are going to use the natural beauty of the object, but we are going to make it a bit more magical. And I hope you will like my choice. And also another example I wanted to show you. I'm going to show you next week as well. Wooden horses, Dala horses. They were taken from IKEA, and they were really plain wood, but I decided to take them with me home and recreate them in two different styles. One is more rustical with the crackles, with one of the first Prima molds. So you can see it's pretty dimensional. So this one is small in the shades of white, gray, looks like almost like a sculpture. So this wooden horse has a bit, oh, now it's better. You can see quite nice vintage techniques on the top. However, this one was supposed to be shiny, magical, and be more, oh, poor thing, the bomb is very dirty. And that was on the other side of the scale. This is more like magical, a bit steampunkish alteration. So the set of techniques, in my opinion, depends on what you are working on. If you have object which is kind of unusual shape, like the teapot, you have to find solutions how to attach the objects, elements, textures to it, and to make it look natural. So the alteration is kind of like a durable, and it's going to last, and it's going to look like it is supposed to be like that. So it's much easier to work on the flat object, like for example this box and the book, because the surfaces are more flat. But I think transforming real objects gives you a huge pleasure. So let me put these ones aside so we can focus on our work today, and I will try to show you the ways of compassionate alterations. So I'm going to show you some of the useful products and techniques to create fun look on your object. I'm going to keep some of these, some, not all of them. By the way, I really have to do the alteration of that one day. Yeah, teapot is going to stay in my house forever. Teapot was done with my husband. He was cutting the holes in it. I will show you on the other angle. It's going to be easier. And I think this is such a fun project that we just have to keep it. So let's go to the top view. Okay, that should be fine. We are not altering my mug with tea, of course. The teapot, there's video on that, of course. You can watch that video on my YouTube channel. And you will see that all that construction is in fact done in quite crazy way, because we had to cut the hole inside of it so I can put the biggest cog like this inside. And then once it was secured, I could use my gel medium and I could use all the elements I wanted to secure it permanently. The same happened here. You can see another big metal cog going inside. And what I love about it, it does still look very similar to the original, yes, to the original metal teapot I had. Yes, this is metal. It never had the top. When I got it from the free market, it was always without the top, so I didn't really feel there is a problem to change it into work of art. So I would never use it anyway, unless maybe for a pot for flowers, but no. And we're going to use some of the ideas you can see here today as well. So let me show you what is going to be today's object. And I hope you like it. We're going to alter Italian coffee maker. Italian coffee maker has special history. It is the one I got from Italy when I was there. I don't drink coffee, but I really love Italian coffee. And this is just perfect for 2-3 people, tiny coffees. But unfortunately, this teapot had, well, coffee pot had an accident. And during the accident, it got burned completely. So you can see all that got completely burned. I couldn't take it anymore out. I couldn't replace this rubber. So I just decided to buy a second one. And now it's the high time to turn it into work of art. We are going to work together. It's going to take some time, but it's going to be fun. And I would like to keep part of this natural tarnished silver color because I think it is beautiful. And I'm not going to remove any of these elements. However, I considered taking that part off, but I decided to keep it. So this is our object. And we are going to work on the top of that. So we will also need some special things to start. The most important thing when you plan to keep part of the color visible is to use clear gesso. So this is like the must-have for the compassionate alteration. When you're going to see some parts of it, you don't want to kill the color by accident. Yeah, Hungarian as well. Yeah, it is kind of important. Also, for the special elements, it is possible you will need to use your hot glue gun from time to time to make sure the elements will be attached in the right position for long enough for your gel to dry and hold it. Of course, if you work at home and you are not in a hurry, you can skip that point. Like, you may need just leave it to dry and it's going to work, and then put it on the other side and continue. But in reality, it's because we have to work on both sides, we have to speed up the process a little bit. And what is also important for us, we need to make sure, I'm just attaching attaching my charger just in case if my phone will die. Sorry for that, because that seems to be important. And finding the right position for everything. Yeah, that should be okay. So I have my hot glue gun, I have my clear gesso, and my first step before I'm going to prepare everything else, I'm going just to put one coat of the clear gesso on the top of my metal. This is the most important step because we are working on the slippery surface, and the same would happen if you would like to work on the glass or even on the fresh wood. You have to seal it and you have to make it matte. Wood would naturally go quite matte from the beginning, but it is absorbing. So your paints would need to be painted in many layers, but gesso stops the absorbing, so it's like a sealer. For metal and the glass, your gesso is going to be matte medium. It's going to prepare the surface for our pastes and our gels and our waxes, whatever you plan to use, stick better. So it's better to just start with that gesso, and then you can easily continue on the top. And of course, I told you, I'm using clear gesso because I really want to keep parts of that metallic look as well. So if I was planning to repaint completely, I would just go with any color of gesso. It could be white, it could be black. But for now, I know that we are going to do a bit of that original color, so I'm doing clear, and I will dry it quickly and I will repeat just in case, because metal is metal and it's always better to give it 2 thin coats instead of 1 thicker coat. If you have any questions, let me know. The book is for you because it's in Spanish. Yeah. So talking about the coffee maker, you know, I told you that I have this very old-fashioned stove in the kitchen, and it happened that we were making coffee for our friend, and we had this very good conversation. And when she started this, you know, telling us the story, we completely forgot the coffee maker is on the stove. And then we left, and then when we came back, this poor guy was completely burned, and all the coffee inside was dry, so there was no way to save it. The plastic started to melt. It was not a good end of story for the little coffee maker, so I decided to keep it. And for some time I used as a pot for the plants, so there was a small plant growing inside, but later I replanted that little plant into something else, and I kept that coffee maker for future projects. And now I decided it is the right time. In fact, when I was planning that YouTube hop with the teapot, this coffee maker was one of the plans I had. I was considering doing the coffee maker, but in the end we decided to do the teapot, and that was good decision because one of my design team members, she altered the coffee maker as well. So we didn't repeat the idea, and that was very nice. So as you can see, start is very, very simple, but I would say it is crucial. It's important. So I think the most important thing is to just let it dry. And I will show you what is my plan for this little one here, because I already prepared some of the elements. I'm not going to do the thinking in front of you because it takes too much time. I wanted to use, of course, some mechanical parts because it's going to be steampunk little coffee maker. So be prepared. But I'm also planning to use elements made from the molds because I wanted extra dimension, and you can see there is really a big difference when it comes to sizes. And the biggest part of my plan is going to use wings. I'm going to make flying coffee maker. It's going to be flying coffee maker. I think it's going to be perfect partner in crime for my magical teapot. So I'm quite excited to have these two guys somewhere on my shelf in the studio. So I'm going to start with the bottom, and then I'm going to decorate the top. And my plan with the wings is to create flying coffee maker. It's going to be really cool with wings on both sides, like this, right? And then, of course, some decoration on the top and decoration on the bottom. Hello, Debbie. So you just relax and you join us and you have the best time ever. So because the wing is going to go here, I still have some space and I really want to cover this not very handsome guy. I think I need to move the phone a little bit. Yeah. This not too handsome guy. So I was planning to put some bigger cogs to cover it, and then the leftovers will disappear easily. So that's part of the plan. For the bottom, I wanted to create some effects with texture. I've got texture paste. This is golden nugget, and other option is graphite. Any of these, and maybe some nice floral design. However, I told you it is not really possible to use stencils here with the great precision. So solutions such as using flexible elements. These are pieces of lace I have prepared as well. You can see here I have them. Or sometimes you can buy elements which are flexible, or you can make them yourself in the molds using flexible materials. These will be great solution when you have some objects that you want to alter and the surface is irregular. So, however, I really love resin because it's quick. Sometimes these flexible elements, they're almost like silicone. So some of the modeling materials that are possible to shape are going to be your good friends as well, because they help you to stick in the right way, in the right position. Especially when you alter bottles, that is important. So bottles or pots of different kinds. So let me start with the bottom. I'm going to take some gel medium, maybe I'm just going to take 3D matte gel. And then we are going to work on some flowery decoration on the bottom. Not too much. I have some elements done already, but they are too big. So you can see that you have to be a little bit flexible when it comes to design. Yeah. I have to remove that part. And I'm using transparent gel to stick it down, so there will be no problem if there will be some leftovers visible, of course. In fact, it's going to be much easier if I will cut it in smaller bits and pieces. Is everything okay so far? Do you need any help or you have any questions? Just checking. Ah! Stay. Okay, I don't think you need anything at this point. You are very quiet, so I guess everything is according to the plan. So Debbie, you can just sit and relax and enjoy and forget about everything else and let me do the job. And your job is to relax. So now it's a little bit of the invention how to place next element so it is going to fit. For example, like that. This is the part when I'm getting into the zone and I really enjoy the process because I can focus on creating. I don't have to worry about anything else unless it is sticking to my fingers and I'm a bit annoyed. Stick. Ta-da-dum. Ta-da-dum. So not a bad start. We can go all the way around, and this is also the answer for some of the questions sometimes. How do you alter objects which are round? You just have to imagine that you start in one point and then you try to take it as much as you can in the other direction. So here I'm trying to find if it's possible to fit it in. Not so much, so this is too long. So we're going to go like this. I'm changing the technique of gluing now. And now we can continue with a little bit more of the elements. And then we're going to add some texture. Ah, they came into the same place. So maybe I will find a little flower. Oh, there's a flower. And then something going that way, and it's going to be ready. Too long. Stick. Maybe one more flower. Is there any more? Oh, here's one. And still I have plenty leftovers for the next time. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect because there will be painting, there will be waxing or acrylic painting. So things are going to change a bit. So let's see what we got so far. I just clean my fingers so I'm not going to put more gel in the other places. So it starts here, it goes all the way around a little bit and goes on the other side. I will just give it a moment of drying and I will seal it with the clear gesso. Ah! My life. Yeah, these are not so fun parts when you have to be careful. But luckily gels and gessos dry quickly. So now let's add a little bit of the texture. You can see this one is quite dry, but I don't have the time to add water now. I'm just going to rub it with my finger. This one needs to be refreshed. But I'm going to create a bit of the texture on the bottom. This texture is going to be just sand later. So it is going to be feeling like maybe the rust is already taken over the bottom of it. I want to give it that grunginess, and also this is the good moment to hide all the imperfections if you have them, because you can pretend this is exactly what you wanted. So you can spread it also somewhere closer to the top. I'm going to go here around that safety part as well, and of course all the way around to create the texture. I'm using golden nugget paste, but it may be any paste, or you can create your own sand paste using gel medium. It could be graphite paste. I just opened that one. But it's all about the texture that we are going to see later. Too much. Just in some parts. We don't want to do too much of the covering because that means we will have to repaint a lot as well. So for me, it is more just the feeling of the grunginess to it. Okay, I will probably use that later as well. So I will just clean my fingers and spray some water in it, or even pour some water. So it's going to get a little bit fresher. So this is the way to revive your paste when you feel they're not so fresh anymore. You can just add some water or some fluid medium inside. Oh, look, it's already happening, so let it sit. Now we dry it and we seal it with the gesso, so the lace is going to stay in that place forever. There are so many texture pastes you can use that, you know, almost every single one is a good choice. So you don't have to worry that maybe you don't have exactly the same one I was showing you. You can make your own paste if you like. This may be just, you know, any color as well, because there's always option of repainting that on the top a little bit. So be creative, use what you have, and try to use up your own supplies when you make this kind of projects, because it is really great way of expanding your perspectives, expanding your techniques, trying new things. So now a little bit more of that gesso just for extra protection. You can see I'm going on the top of the lace. I'm going just to seal it with the background. I don't care that much about my paste because the paste is going to stick anyway. It's on the matte surface. It will be really hard to peel it off by accident. But the lace is the one that I'm more worried about. So yeah, gesso disappeared. I have to tell you, altered art is, in general, assemblage and collage is my favorite kind of art, because I am able to give new life to the old discarded objects, things that maybe were loved in the past by somebody. They were used, they were maybe somewhere at display, maybe in the kitchen or maybe in the living room. People were using them, they were part of somebody's history, but later they were just left behind or discarded, and nobody really knows who were the owners of them, what was happening with them, and they are considered to be rubbish. They're considered to be worthless. And I feel the same about family photos. If I find some family photos and that nobody wants anymore, I just want to keep them, because in my way I'm trying to adopt these people for myself and they become my own family in a way. So I know this may be stupid, but it works for me. I feel this is really my way of creating art, finding beauty in not so beautiful, forgotten objects and giving them another chance. Okay, the bottom is basically ready. Now we are going to work on the wings and the top. This is a little bit more challenging part because of the shape. Have you got any questions so far? No questions? I think no questions, unless you can't see me and hear me and I'm talking to myself, but I think hopefully not. So I told you I wanted to... Oh, crystal clear, thank you. That's good. Hello, Anya, you are just on time. I wanted to use the wings, and I told you this is resin. I made it with my molds. You can see the difference. This is matte, this is glossy, which means I already painted that with some of the clear gesso to make my job easier. And they are going to go on the top of my coffee maker. They're going to go like that. That's the plan. And of course, I need to add the color to it. So I think the easiest way to make sure it is going to be safer, I'm going to add color now. Oh, some metal pieces. Before gluing that down. So the closest color to my pot, I think, is going to be brushed iron. Maybe with a little bit of the old silver, but I can always correct that later. This is just one of my metallic waxes, and I'm going to wax it and glue it on the top of the composition. So I'm taking the big brush. Let's check the color, but I would say very good. Hello, hello to Anya. Good to see you, my dear. So that part is going to be attached, and I really want to do it now because it should be painted on both sides. So it's much easier this way than to struggle later to go into the kind of uncomfortable position to wax it when it is attached to the teapot. Usually I first glue everything together if I am not sure which elements I'm going to use, but here I really know I want to use the wings, so I go in the other sequence of steps. Now we can think a little bit on which elements are going to go where, because once I'm going to add the wing, I will need to glue the other elements as well. Okay, so if the wing goes here, I can use the big cog here, and then let's see what I've got. When you make dimensional projects, you can repeat the same composition on both sides, which means it's good to have 2 of each item. So I will try to find, oh, these should be nice details to go on the top. And I should have 2 of them because there are 2 of them in the package. Yeah, there are 2 of them. So my wings are going to have the same shape. Now, for that moment, I'm going to attach the wing using my hot glue just for now, before I'm going to use the heavy body gel. And please be careful when you do it. That part I want to remove. Almost. And then I will do the same with this big cog next to it. Later I'm going to use heavy body gel, so it is going to stay secure forever. Because as you know, I was trying to tell you many times, this is temporary solution. This is not going to be a secure way of adding elements. But because we need to work on both sides, I have to find a way. So now the challenge is to attach it in the same position. Almost. I'm trying to find the same angle. And now we can use similar, but not exactly the same cog on the other side as well. Okay, so for now, this is going to stay. No, it is not going to stay in place. See, this is what I told you. You have to be quite careful when it comes to hot glue. In this position. Yeah, what did I tell you? Yeah, hot glue doesn't like metal. That's why we have to secure it quickly with the heavy body gel. Ta-da! Ta-da! Now, So let's glue with the heavy body gel, trying to make sure these elements stay in place. Yeah, this is not going to stay the way I want. See? I have to be patient. I have to glue it with the gel as it is. Ta-da. And I prefer to keep that excess just in case. Yeah, told you. Hot glue is not going to work. So, patience, and that's the answer today. Patience and heavy body gel. So now, on the top of that, before I'm going to dry it, I'm adding this metal element. And perfection is not so important because we want to make it grungy. But if it's annoying for you and you want to make it more clean, remember taking your small brush and just take off the excess as much as you can. Also, you can push the gel in the desired part of the project, like I'm here pushing that a little bit in. So this is going to hold my wing better. So now maybe we're going to add some smaller part. I just have to work on one side and then dry it and work on the other side. There's no way. My secret sneaky plan of speeding up the process using the hot glue for a moment didn't work at all. So now you see why I personally hate the hot glue. I really do. Okay, so we have nice composition like that. It would be nice to have something here as well. Maybe this little guy, or maybe this little guy. Oh, that would be really nice. Of course, we can add details such as pebbles and the little knobs anytime after that. But it's a nice start to have that all. And then we can repeat similar composition on the other side. Yeah, toy train, yeah, I can imagine. That's why really heavy body gel is the solution, because it does the job no matter what the surface is. That would be nice. Yeah, the biggest pain is the wing because it's so big. So try to blow if you can from different angles, so the gel will have a chance to dry more or less evenly. Also, because it's metal, there is some advantage. The surface gets really hot, so the gel is going to dry a bit faster. But make sure you're not overheating it, otherwise it's going to make some crazy bubbles. Yeah, it is almost there, holding there. I can now stop for a moment and decorate the top instead of the back, so nothing is going to break. And just remove that one without any problem, as you can see. So on the top, I wanted to have something more floral again. So I'm going to get some nice metal flowers. And the plan is to get Lotus flowers and then some of the mechanical parts as well. Let's see how the Lotus is going to fit. I was thinking about making kind of cute composition on one side and then adding something more mechanical to it. Let's just find, okay, so we need these guys for the wing on the other side, just to make sure I won't make a mistake, right? Maybe I can find another shape of a flower. This is too big. So we're going to break that one, maybe one of these. Oh, they are well made this time. No, I can't break them today. So let's put these two and then that one and a bigger cog. Too big. Yeah, that one will work. So that's our plan for now. So I can stick the top. That's the problem with the altered art and dimensional projects. You are not always able to see everything from the top easily. So on the videos, it is sometimes a big challenge. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm putting quite a lot of that gel here in the empty spaces. Now I can stick it on the top again and remove the excess from the inside. And then I have empty spot here. So maybe that is quite cute. Or oh, not too beautiful. Yeah, let's take one of these. I absolutely love the rust on it. It's probably going to go anyway, but at least I will try. Have you got any questions so far? So you can see I'm trying to make the composition that is going to look nice from each side. There's always something to look at. No matter which way you're going to hold the project, you're going to see something interesting. So this is one of the important things when you are planning dimensional project, to get enough of the elements to be able to repeat the design, or at least make it similar or even on both sides. So that's why it's good to have 2 packages of each item or 2 molds of the same kind. So just in case if you need to, you can repeat. I moved it. Great, I moved it. Really. That was not supposed to happen, but it did happen. So what can I do with the empty spots? Because there are always some. We can put tiny bits like pebbles to create more of the interesting look. For example, inside of the flowers, or just random elements here and there. So pebbles are a great option. So you can always add them as a neutral to the composition. The second option, and I quite like that, especially for the steampunk projects, is to use little screw heads. And screw heads and bolts, they are great when you want to create the impression something is attached to the background while it is not. So in this set, I have some really cool screw heads, and I can use these inside of the composition to fill the empty spots, or just to add extra detail. This is what the set is in fact for, to make the impression everything is finished nicely. There should be some music in the background because it's getting very quiet when I focus on gluing or painting. But I can just keep talking. It's also an option. So this is how it is changing now. Let's look for some other little bits and pieces we can put inside. Maybe a pebble. So this is not exactly the same. Nunek, you can sing. Well, my singing would be dramatic. So maybe you don't want to put me in that awkward position, and save your ears as well. I'm sure you're far more talented than I am. Yeah, my thinking process is, very honest. Honestly, it's very honest. Honestly, as I said, I feel very comfortable with you, and I can tell you exactly how the things are. Like I can tell you that, okay, my plan was like this, but I can see this is not working, because not always everything goes according to the plan. And it's good to see that some things are not the great idea, instead of making this mistake or this decision and then panic because you have, for example, no confidence yet, and you would maybe stop. So, I told you, the idea with the hot glue, sometimes it does help. Sometimes it works. And you can hold the elements in place and continue your work faster. But today is not the day. This is probably too slippery surface, and it is not going to help at all. So instead, we just found a solution. Look, I'm just decorating the top of the coffee maker instead. This is giving me the chance to dry the gel a little bit. I absolutely love how these little pebbles add the dimension here. You can tell that I just take them and I stick them happily around it because they look so nice. And what I'm trying to achieve is like centered composition with this handle on the top in the middle. In fact, I just had this idea, I will add special detail to it as well. How about that? More gel? I think you need more gel. Are you okay? Oh, should be okay. Super cute in a steampunk way. And now I will dry it, and then I will try to switch to the other side so I can attach my second wing, and maybe I will just add bits and pieces inside of these mechanical parts as well. Don't go. The truth is, I absolutely love making this kind of projects. It's liberating, entertaining, challenging, and you can create really lovely objects you can later give to somebody as an unusual gift, or just put it on the display in your own house. And some people, oh, that's even better. Some people just love to have this kind of object at home. It's like, you know, having work of art made by you. I collect art objects I like, and I have a selection of different kinds made by artists that I absolutely love. When I can, I try to buy art, but of course this is not always possible. Not always you can take it home, because that would be my biggest problem. How to take it home when I'm traveling. And not always it is possible to ship it as well, because it may be very fragile. So whenever I can, I try. I have some paintings. I have some assemblage. And they just make me happy. And in the meantime, I keep creating my own things as well. So the collection keeps growing and growing and growing. And this is why on some point we had to move out from the apartment and find a bigger space. No, this is not true, not because of my collection. It was because I really wanted to have a studio. And the only way to do it was to move out from the apartment block and to find a house, because there will be no way I can find apartment that would be possible to separate my working space from my living space, and that was my big dream. And in the end, instead of buying a house outside of Warsaw in Poland, we moved to Ireland and we live in the middle of the countryside. How cute is that? And I have garage. And I'm always surprised that my studio, so the garage, is bigger than my apartment in Warsaw. So now a little bit of drying and a tea break, and then we move to the other side of our project. So hopefully you can see what is happening here. I don't mind the text, like Mocha Express looks really cool, especially made in Italy and so on. But I didn't really like this big guy, the logo they have. So in the end, it's going to be under the Pebbles and the Cogs. Just need to make sure this one sticks as well, because apparently, oh, there's an empty gap. Stay. This one is a bit of a struggle. I'm glad you enjoy. I just lost another piece somehow. Come here, baby. You know, Debbie, this is important to be flexible and to adapt, as you say, because not everything goes according to our precious plans. And if we get attached to our original ideas so much, life will quickly verify and then watch. This is not exam. I'm not passing exam in front of you. I'm just trying to show you how I will make my projects when nobody's watching. So in fact, you are watching, but it's almost like nobody's watching. And even in the classroom where the things go wrong sometimes because something unexpected happens, you can always find a solution. Yeah, this one here is a bit stubborn. But wait. I will get you. So now, in the meantime, when we are still drying and still hoping for the best, we can again use our magical supply for today, the most important supply of the day, so clear gesso. And then we can do a bit of painting to prepare the metal to get painted or waxed or sprayed, whatever your technique of choice is for the day. So again, you don't have to do a lot. It's just to turn everything matte. One coat is going to be enough. And of course, don't forget about pebbles, because they are slippery, almost as slippery as resin is. So it's kind of important you will give them this treatment. Unless you want to have them completely clear and beautiful, then keep them away away from the project until the last step when everything is painted, and glue them as your last element, because it is not possible to paint selectively to avoid painting them by accident. I tried 1 or 2 times in the past, and I figured I'm not careful enough, and even if I was careful enough, it will be very time consuming. So it is in fact much easier to just leave them and then add them later. Now, baby. That keeps surprising me always when it happens. Once the color is on, it's going to look stunning. I just can't wait to see it all silver and then add some beautiful grungy touches to it. And it is coming. It is coming. It's getting closer and closer. Now, let's create some soft bed. For this one. Maybe like this. So the special hack with baby wipes and paper towels, so we have it in the right position. Then we get our elements out. The wing, the cog, yeah. And we try to repeat the same composition as before. No, this is the other gel. Let's get heavy body gel, the proper heavy stuff. First, the wing. Wow. Just in the right position. I'm pretty impressed. And then the cog as well. Then the decoration. And more of the decoration. cleaning. Oh, here's the little head. Something nice here. Oh, that looks okay. Yeah, you have to have skills. Now, maybe a little bit of mechanical part somewhere. Something just going to be small enough to fit in that space. Let's see what I've got. Pebbles and that little cog. What else have I got left from the small bits and pieces? This is nice, but it's very dimensional, and that will be a challenge. Oh, that would do. Good job. Still opening? Yeah, good. And then something here to make this machine nicely finished. I think we're almost there. Yeah, that will be nice. As you can see, it's better for me to put more gel and then push it in and clean it off instead of being too skinny, because all of these items, they are going to be touched a lot. So I prefer to have it a little bit more grungy, but possible to really touch it, move it from one place to another, than to be very, very careful and afraid that every time when I touch it, something may come off. Because this is not fun part. When you make alteration, you would like to have this possibility to be, opening, closing that, changing some things on the shelves, and sometimes you drop it on the floor as well. And of course, it is not going to be unbreakable, but if you glue it properly, it's going to be hard to break it, and then the technique will provide that it is easy to fix. So it is kind of good thing. This is too big. Let's take a smaller one. And I took exactly the same size. It's good thing that things are sturdy and properly made. come on. Just make sure that you're not going to stick the top to the bottom by accident, because that would be very unfortunate. And now I feel tempted to maybe add 1 or 2 pebbles on the bottom part as well. Not too many. Just to make it more corresponding with what we have on the top. I thought I used up all the small ones, but no. I'm not counting them, I'm just trying to place them in a nice empty spots. So, because it's going to be visible from different angles, I just try to make it visually nice. Yeah, that would be nice to have something small here. See? It means you did something right. I always tell a story about one of my first assemblage projects when I was using huge metal lock taken from old door in the old house. So you can imagine how heavy this item was. And it was on the tiny canvas. It took almost the whole space there. And then I was decorating it, trying to make it look a little bit more pretty. And it was on the easel on one of my shelves at home. And when I was cleaning the shelf, I know cleaning the shelves is a stupid idea, but I did it. It fell on the floor. And I was sure it's going to get broken in pieces, but the reality was the project was perfectly fine, just part of my floor chipped off. So I use gel medium for for gluing, and apparently the job was done properly, so you don't really have to worry that much. Once it is glued properly, you can really relax. Once it is dry, it is almost permanent, really. So now we are going to start coloring. First I need to just gesso that part with the clear gesso, and we have to think about options, how we can change the color of the project. Yeah, Carmen, that was my reaction exactly. My wooden floor chipped off. So, of course, the easiest way would be just to use wax, but I had this idea on my mind that I would like to add some rusty touches or patina touches to it. Yeah, it chipped the floor. So, I think I'm going to start with acrylics, and then I'm going to add some touches with wax and other paints. It's not going to be that much work once it is all done. I just want to add some more texture again. So I'm going to come back to our gel medium with sand and with golden pieces, so golden nugget paste, which is already much softer. You can see what I was telling you about reviving the product easily. This is the magic of water, but just don't do it when it's rock hard, because it takes forever and it's never going to be super smooth. It's much better if you can do it when it is thicker, but not completely dry yet, just saying. Okay, so this is the bit of the texture I wanted to add in some places, just trying to pick up not too much and a little bit thicker part of it. So maybe with the brush, my finger seems to be too thick. Surprise, surprise. Okay. A bit of the texture, somehow, somewhere. Not too much, it's just going to grungy it up. I noticed some people, once they get the product they really like, they go really batshit crazy with it everywhere. And then sometimes, if it's texture paste, some of the elements may get lost a bit. So it's not always the more the better. Sometimes it's good to apply it in moderation, so you can still see the original textures of the objects that you are using. Just saying. That's what I'm trying to do now. I'm just trying to grungy it up in some parts, but not to do the overkill. And that's why I'm trying to use smaller brush as well. And one of the ways of creating that grungy effect is, of course, also, for example, sprinkling some art stones or micro beads, or later finishing up with some of the metallic micro beads. It is really up to you. I'm going to start with that to see how much of the texture I'm going to get this way. If it's not enough, I can always add more, no problem. I'm a huge fan of all the delicate textures such as beads or art stones, because they really add beautiful details if needed. Oh, too much. That should be enough. Drying. And I will look for the proper color of the paint to start. Ah, you should really see my serious skills when it comes to drying. Ta-da! Special combination to point the heat gun just in the right direction. I found it, the silver paint. silver spoon, which is very similar in color to what we need. Last layer of clear gesso. Painting and drying at the same time. Ta-da! Now we can have a look at what we got so far. We've got yes, if I had plenty of time, I would probably think about making something special, or you can use it as jewelry box or anything. I would probably paint it inside so it looks nicer. However, this dirtiness, it's quite cool, but it would be, if it was a gift, that would be surely some hidden message inside, some maybe, you know, small composition with the secret note, for example, love this life, or something else. For example, like small altered object hidden inside as well. It all depends what is the purpose. If you're going to use it just for decoration in your kitchen or somewhere else, you don't really have to, of course, but if it's going to be your special hiding place, look, it's still possible to open that part as well. I intentionally try to keep it movable so I can use the bottom part as well if I want to. So we have composition looking like that from that side. Then you turn around, still looking good, quite symmetrical, which is nice. Then the flowers are not so symmetrical. And then going to the other side, it's nicely evenly done. No matter which way you're going to display it, it is going to be okay. And then the top looks quite nice as well. So we are ready to start painting. It's all gessoed with clear gesso. So now I will try to paint just the elements. And again, the reason I'm not using waxes, it's just to make my own job easier. And to make it easier for myself to add finishing touches with paints instead of struggling later. I'm not sure how many of you used waxes before. If you did, you know they are not great friends of water or acrylic paint. It's possible to paint a little bit on the top, but in fact, the more wax, the harder it is to paint something. The waxes will resist. So in that case, if you're planning some more steps, it's better to start with acrylic paint and use your waxes as the last step of your work. As you can see, I'm trying to repaint with similar color to the original. And perfection is not needed here because we are going to make it grungy and rusty or patinated anyway. So I'm not sure if it's going to be rusty or it's going to be colors of patina. Yet, I'm not sure yet. But I'm going to start with this silver. I'm not even covering that rusty part because it's pretty. Okay. Now, because, stay there. Because I'm going to see that coffee maker a lot from that side angle, I want to make sure these flowers are nicely painted as well. So please remember. Also, if you see any imperfections on the wings now, you can paint that. Now, we repaint the lace and a bit of that texture on the bottom. And we repaint the embellishments on the top. I found you. You can see under the paint, it starts to look super rusty. This is what I wanted to get. And once I'm going to paint it with the rusty or patina colors, it is going to look like it is almost crumbling in pieces. This is exactly what I wanted to get, adding the texture paste. You can either do it this way and start with some textures and then make them more visible using paints, or you can use dimensional version of the rust paste and apply it as a last step. It is really up to you. You can do a combination of both. This way with the texture under gives you a little bit more options of what can you use for painting. So you can try not just the rust paste, but also you can go with the traditional acrylic paints or with waxes if you like. This looks so natural now. Yeah, it's turning nice. Yeah, it is slowly getting there. The worst part when it is all raw in the natural colors, it's not the best part of any project. But once you start coloring, once you start adding the details you wanted to make in the last step as well, everything turns completely different. It doesn't have to be perfect, because there will be more paint going on the top or wax. But look how this changed already. Now we do this part. Of course, if there's something you absolutely love in the color as it is, you don't have to do so. But I'm not super careful, precise painter. So most of the times it's just easier for me to paint everything and then paint again in the selected colors, just these objects that I want in the right tone, like rusty or darker ones, depending what the plan is. Oh, I didn't want to paint that. So silver acrylic paint. Nothing fancy, nothing sophisticated so far. But we get quite good results. Oh, it keeps opening every time, and I always get scared when it happens. I have the feeling something is coming off. Because there is texture anyway, you can just even dab the paint in the empty spaces. All the cavities are going to get painted nicely. Almost there. So now, of course, before the next step, which is beginning of the finishing touches, we have to dry it. And there's one thing that happens when you use this paint here. Your project is not so antique looking anymore. So what to do? One of the options is accept it as it is and just keep it a little bit more shiny in some parts, which is a possible option. It doesn't look bad. But what I'm tempted to do is in fact to take clear gesso and make it matte. So it's going to be so much closer to the original color that I can see in some parts. And it is going to look much more natural. Especially it can be just very, very quick coat of the gesso. It's like the third time I'm using the gesso on this project already. But it's going to be sealed perfectly thanks to that. So now I'm just not doing that for sealing, I'm just doing that because I want this to be more of the matte finish. And of course, if you have varnishes, you can try to varnish, but clear gesso will do very good job anyway. So if you have it on your table, you can just give it a quick dry brush and give it more of the antique look again. That's the problem with the metallic paints. They are shiny, which is usually not a problem, but in this project, I was planning to go more natural, antique, tarnished look. So my clear gesso is again my solution. Embellishments are not a big concern. It's more about the surface of the coffee maker. Yeah, that's exactly what it does. It removes the shine of the metallic. It turns it matte. And this way, it's going to look older. It's going to look more grungy, antique. You're going to see that in a moment once I finish painting and I will dry it. This white... Oh, look at that. I missed the spot with the silver. No way. I know, way, but... It's going to create older look on it. Sometimes if you have metallic finish. Even just metal embellishments, which are very shiny, just giving them coat of clear gesso is going to turn them into antique look. Bravo, bravo. That was not what I wanted to do. So now it is matte. I hope you can see the difference. It should be much more visible. What we need to do now, we need to work on the dimension. This is like the things that we did already in the texture and dimension part of our mixed media essentials. So first of all, I can make the shadows deeper and I can make the tops lighter. So let me see if just adding a tiny bit of the shiny silver is going to do the job. Probably not. Tiny bit maybe. But I will also need to add some white to it, I guess. So now, let's start with adding the shadows and adding the rusty tones, and we can use liquid acrylics for that. So first of all, for shadows, let's use the ink black and maybe a bit of the brown tones, umber and burnt sienna. These will be the darker tones. Have you got any questions so far? Because you are so quiet. I know that you're probably half asleep, but hopefully the result is going to be nice to look at. So first of all, I'm putting the black color in the deeper parts of the composition. Also maybe adding some browns to it to make it darker, to create the effect of the shadow. And you've seen it before. I've done it in front of you a couple of times. We can spray some water to make that effect look more natural. Right? The only problem now is to do it around the whole project. So what I need to do is to move section by section and make sure the paint goes in the darker parts, for example in the lace. And leaving some of the parts almost unpainted. So let's move that way. I'm using mostly umber and black because that seems to be like the color which is going nicely with this color palette with those silvers. And as you can see, I'm picking up the color right away with the baby wipe. If it's too much, just removing the tops, cleaning them up a bit. You can dry and then we can continue. So the shadows will go first, then we will do the rusting and then the highlights, and then we see if we have to repeat anything. Because sometimes after adding the highlights, you will decide like, I would like to do a little bit darker in some parts. It's okay, you can always come back to it and add more. In fact, if you go with confidence without thinking too much, this process will take just a moment, and then you can go to the next steps quite quickly. Like this would be nice to have more of the texture here because it looks so dirty. Yeah, just look at that, so pretty. I'm glad you enjoy. Honestly, you're my great excuse to create projects that I would like to have myself. And it's always like, maybe I should do something more useful. Or maybe I should just focus on creating, you know, good samples for the classes and so on. There's no time limit in the streams I make for you. When I was doing live shows at Facebook, Sharon from Prima, she was always telling me, don't go over 1 hour. Nobody wants to watch more than 1 hour. And then I felt like, oh my God, how many simple projects I can make. I'm not that good in short, simple projects because my imagination doesn't go that way. It's much easier for me to make bigger project than to smaller one. And I felt a bit stressed. But since I started doing live streams with you, I just have, you know, my stream, my rules. So if you are not feeling like you want to watch, you can always go do something, go to sleep and come back whenever you feel ready. And it's okay. You have that moment, you know, when I'm creating for you to ask the questions or to get more information. But I absolutely understand. It is not always possible to sit in front of your device for that long. And I don't feel offended or I don't feel disappointed. The deal is I do it for you and you enjoy it and you're at your own terms, right? This is the thing. I give you the timing when I'm going to do it so you can join me, and then I'm absolutely thrilled that you are here with me. But if you weren't here, I would feel obliged to do it anyway. Yeah, it's, you know, I always, what Duneka is saying about the useless stuff, it's art, right? I would say crafts is when you feel the project you are doing is useful. Art is when you feel it is useless, but you love it anyway and you just want to look at that. So this is how it works with arts and crafts for me. I just want to make stuff that makes me happy. And apparently making this coffee maker makes me extremely happy. I quite like the bottom already. It does look much older than it was. Now I have to do the other side here. So again, going inside of the deeper parts with this dirty paint. So mixture of black and umber is going to be the best here to create like the dirty look. That was not great English. The look of grunginess, like the touch of grunginess, touch of the older. Yeah, that's nice. Now on the wing as well. I just love how the textures on these wings are getting visible once you start using color on them. For when do we have to make a piece? There's no deadline. You just do it whenever you like. It's up to you. You decide. You have to find like inspiration. Decide this is the right time. There's no challenge, no deadline. Okay, so look, this is how it changed so far. Now we have to do the same to the top. Now you can compare with the shadow, with no shadow. Yeah, the shadow is important thing. That was what I was trying to tell you during the last Mixed Media Essentials, that in projects when we have a lot of dimension, we have to intentionally help it shine, and we have to make the shadows more deep. So people will really see the differences between what is dimensional and what is flat. And one of the ways, of course, is using shiny on the top and matte on the bottom, or just darker on the bottom, lighter on the top, which we are trying to do here. But that is making a huge difference. Every time when I do painting, just look at that. This is completely not painted and it looks odd. And you said nothing, like, oh my God, like, really? Oh, now much better. It is just changing the project completely. And of course, we are going through quite a messy stage now, but it's going to get cleaner once I will start adding the highlights. So it's like halfway painting, but you can see the transformation, and this is like a journey. You have to decide which way you are going to go. if you're going to go lighter, if you're going to go more shabby and delicate, or if you're going to go more grungy. So let's have a look around now, okay? This is where we are. Oh, really? My life. Always something. Okay, I'll wax you later. Yeah, you can see these parts where we were creating textures, now they look much more dramatic. I'm going to work on that even more in the next moments once I will start to add rusty colors. Then we have a little bit of the dirt here, which is quite cool. Then we go again around, and then it starts. It's almost like it is so old that the dirt started to collect in the deeper parts of the composition, and you could not remove it when you were cleaning. So it gives us the impression that it is much older than it is in real life. So this is one way of creating the antique look. Now, if we would like to add some color to it, let's do the rusty tones. So let's pretend some parts of that grunginess is in fact real rust. Just to show you how it is possible to make it. Remember that project? These parts, they're also done with partly waxes, partly acrylic paint. It does look like natural rust, so we can use that for our benefit now. And we will going to see how far we need to go with painting. Rusty colors, tiger orange, carmine, tiger orange, carmine from my liquid acrylics, and burnt umber, which is already on my palette. And again, small brush, some water, baby wipe, and here we go. A bit of carmine, which is in fact red going into orange, and a bit of tiger orange, which is dark, strong orange. Tea. Baby wipe, water. Let's see what happens. Oh, beauty happens. How cool is that? Yeah. Hey, would you use the paint instead of the rust paste when you want more subtle look? Exactly. Rust paste is textured. Here we have plenty of texture already. So if I would like to be more delicate with the result, I would like to get more natural, flat look, I would go with my paints instead of the rust paste. Rust paste is very dimensional, also great for big surfaces. When we have this kind of smaller detail, I think it is a bit easier to get the results with paints. And you can see I'm going back and forth with the paints to see really how much of the color I would like to get and how dark I would like to get and how intense. This is too much here, right? So I'm just taking that off a little bit. Let's dry and see what happens. Remember, I can always rub metallic look on the top again. So you don't have to think, oh, okay, this is too much. You don't have to wipe off everything. You can just rub color on the top. So now we're going extremely grungy, but we can reverse that with the wax and with the gesso, whatever you have. on hand. I'm planning to use waxes. There's a lot of water in the deeper parts here. Not bad at all. Let's continue on the other side as well. Maybe tiny bit here. Maybe, oh, nice drip. Nice drip here. Not too far, but here I like it. Ah, stay, stay, stay. Don't go that far. Perfect. Now, a bit of brown to start. Huh. This one is moving. I have to check what happened here a little bit later. Wow. Unfortunately, I could do that, the step of painting, like forever. Like, oh, I just enjoy the painting process so much. But I have to stop myself because I can't really spend the whole time just adding the paints. So I'm trying to push myself a little bit forward. No, 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 no. Go back. You go back. So there's a lot of going back and forth, oops, and drying. No, you stay here. I wasn't careful enough, and one of my wings is coming off. I have to glue it back. Too much water. Come on, baby. Let me dry you and stick you back in the right place. Poor thing. Oh, that's what happened. Tons of water. Gel. And here we go. Ta-da-dum, dum, ta-dum. And nobody will know that there was something happening here. Yeah, when you use a lot of water and there is not completely dry project and the water will find a way to penetrate, things like that may happen. So be prepared. Be cool. Don't panic. Just glue it back. Of course, it's going to get completely dry in the next 2-3 hours. But I don't have all the time in the world. I just want to make it nice quickly. Now the top. The same technique. A bit of color and a bit of water. And we repeat. A bit of color and a bit of water. And a lot of baby wipes. As you can see, I'm picking up the excess of the water with the corner of the baby wipe as well sometimes, because it starts to collect, for example, inside of the flower. It does look pretty rusty. Now, tiny bit of the rusty touches on the bottom. Not too much because we have a lot of rust already. So maybe a bit of here, especially that bottom part. This is what I wanted to get. It does look like it was standing in the pool of water for a long time. I'm running out of Carmine. I have to do a bit more. Just look how easy it is. Like because you use water and you have texture already, you just let the paint take the color in the right parts of the texture. You can even add black if you feel you want to make it more dirty. That's it. Tiny bit of black. I think this is like my next favorite effect. I'm going to do more in my projects. Something that was in the water, standing in the water for a long time. Okay, let's dry it. The question is how dirty you want to have it or how rusty you want to have it. Because of course it is all possible to change with the subtle, subtle amount of the paint you are adding, water, whatever you prefer to do. You can play for a very long time with that. It's crazy satisfying, to be honest. And if you are not sure how to do it in steps. Look, what I'm doing. I made first layer, I dried it so it turns permanent. Now I can go back again and check if this is what I wanted. The last step is just adding the highlights. And then we are going to get the details a little bit more up, a little bit more visible. I've never thought of having silver as a base and paint on the top of liquid acrylics. Yeah, silver is very underestimated color, I think. People usually don't think much about it. They go more into grungy, coppers, brass, vintage gold. Silver is, it's there, but it is not so much. Now tell me, how cool is that? It, for me, okay, you don't see it in person. You can only see it on the screen. But honestly, it does look completely as if it was naturally rusted because it was standing in the pool of water for, oh Jesus, what I did again. Sorry. I just have to be careful with the wings when I'm moving that around. Right? You could use graphite paste as a start or any of the sand paste or this one. It's just to have the grainy touch. Now, let's try to do the highlights and see if we have to fix something or not. To make it easier for myself, I will do the highlights with the waxes. So I can do it with my finger or with a small brush. So I can clean it up just where I want it. For example, on the embellishments, I don't want to clean up this lovely grungy bottom, of course, because that will be the waste of the lovely effect we created. Like, this technique you can do on any surface, right? You can do it on the keyboard, you can do it on anything you like. I'm just showing you how the product works to get the result. You take this and you apply it on the surface you like, the way you like. It's just the combination. And what you can do, you can start with a bit of the paint, acrylic paint, like I did. I'm just experimenting now with the white wax to see how this is going to go, but yeah, it's adding something. But I think I will do more silver in a moment. So the white wax is touching the tops a bit, but I think the silver is going to do better job. I'll just combine these two to see what happens. Yeah, silver is better. So now, look, I'm rubbing silver wax, the most popular old silver color. And then I'm cleaning up a little bit of that grunginess, but only with my finger. I'm touching the tops of the embellishments. So I can highlight the details of the lace or the pebbles, but the bottoms of these pebbles will be still sitting inside of the rusty stuff. You know what I mean? So the texture we want to see is going to be visible, and the texture we want to stay grungy, it will stay grungy. How awesome is that, my dears? I am just too enthusiastic today. It's over enthusiastic. And of course, if you cover too much, you can take your brush and you can fix it later. You can add a little bit of that paint again. But I hope you can see now what I mean about the light and the shadow. Like, this baby doesn't want to stay. I have to be more careful. I keep holding this wing with my fingers so I don't break it. That's the problem with the dimensional stuff. Once you start moving that around, things happen. Stay. Oh, go away, you white thing. Because I'm using my finger, I'm not able to get too deep, which means I'm only able to highlight the tops. And this way, our dimension is getting deeper. This is awful. And of course, I have to color that back into the right color palette. Because I made it dirty by accident. It's okay. We will paint it back. The same here. Tiny bit. I just drew the curtains, you will be able to see that. I hope he's handsome. Because if that would be my neighbor, that would be very special kind of show. I never told you probably, but my neighbor is 94 years old. And yeah, he is older gentleman living alone. So I hope your neighbor is a tiny bit more attractive. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, joys of having neighbors. It's hard for me to get there with my finger, so I'll try to find a small dirty brush, or like that one, and just touch the tops a bit. Well, I'm glad because I keep forgetting the same thing, but we have our shower room overlooking our garden, and there's nobody can see me. But well, that is special. I just believe we need to add a bit of rust in here as well. Let's have a last look before I'm going to proclaim it finished. A bit of drying, and we can see now if there's anything else we need to fix. If I cover too much with my paints, I can wax again. If I cover too much with my wax, I can paint again. So we're all okay. That's pretty. I will just move these a little bit so you can have a look properly. Yeah. So now, let's inspect the side here. Everything seems to be okay. Then we go on that side. Seems to be fine. And then finally top. I'm pleased. And of course, the textures, it's personal thing. I believe they look really nice. I would love to be able to open it. Yeah, I can. So everything seems to be fine. I will have a lovely drip of rust going inside now. So I think that means we've finished. I will just show you that in a little bit different angle. I will switch it to the other side. And of course, tomorrow I'll post the photos. But just in case, I wanted to show you again how important is the final touch with the shadow and the highlight. It was all silver and a matte. We still, it is still matte in a lot of places. And then the dimension that we created on the top of that, it started to disappear because everything was so much the same, so unified. Now we've got the result. We have rusty dimensional effect on the top. We can see all the elements, even from the distance. I will just hold it for you in a moment in a little bit different way. And we still see the original color of the pot. It's, I would say it's a really nice alteration. We are still able to see the original object. It is inspired by the original colors. And I absolutely love the effect we got on the bottom with this super caked rust created with the texture paste. So that technique is something that you can experiment with on a lot of surfaces. You know how to do it now. And this is something that is just possible to do in basically 4 steps. So you need prepare the background, apply the paste, dry it, paint it with the background paint, and then paint it with acrylics. Let me show you the look from the distance now. That's me, hopefully. Yay! Me again. So look, I'm holding that now. Stop. It will look great in my kitchen. I'm holding that quite far. So the purpose is to see which elements we used and what kind of textures we have, right? From different angles, it is all possible to see still. So I think those ideas will be helpful for you to create something altered. And of course, the most important thing when you do the alteration is to find something that is going to make your gluing easier. So don't trust the hot glue. As you could see, even with the gesso, sometimes it's not going to hold it. Try to be patient. In fact, we did it in 3 hours, but well, 3 hours, but it would be much safer if you could do it in steps. For example, do one side and let it dry naturally, you know, so it's going to dry like that, and then maybe go and have lunch, and then come back, do the other side, and it's going to dry naturally like this. So all the elements will be really dry through all the layers. Because when we speed up, when we use the heat gun, the problems with the water may happen if it's going to penetrate. So in fact, if you plan this kind of project, it's better when you are going to do, you know, breaks in between, especially when you do the gluing. The second thing, of course, painting. That can go much faster. Painting is perfect to do with the heat gun, and if you use the spray with water, it's really important all of your elements are dry, so you don't have these accidents happening. Of course, as you can see, fixing the accident takes like 1 minute and a little bit of patience, and I'm used to that. I know it happens. I know why it happens. Sometimes I'm lucky and it does not happen during the gluing part. But if I was not with you, I would just let it dry naturally, and I would go have dinner and then come back and then paint it. So that would give me this confidence. Everything is evenly dried and sealed, and once this gel is sealed, it is so hard to remove these elements. It's really, really safe. So I hope you're going to remember the trick with clear gesso to make your metal matte. I hope you're going to remember the trick how to make the caked rust and how to make the whole project look quite cool. I think the flying Mocha Express, well, flying coffee maker is something that you enjoyed. Let me know what you think, and of course I'm going to post the photos tomorrow, and hopefully you're going to get inspired and try to create something. But you know, with the alteration, in fact, it is just sometimes you have to find the right object. Once you get the right thing in your hands, you will get so inspired that you would like to just do something with it, and the ideas will come to you right away. So you don't have to stress that maybe, well, I'm not sure what to do. Look through your stuff, or maybe, like me, pick the discarded item that was supposed to be thrown away because it's unusable, and give it another chance to just turn it into decorative object that also has so many memories included in the package, like we did now. And this is going to be my coffee maker that brings me memories of that day when we burned it. You know, texture paste you can make yourself if you want to save money and you have some gel medium at home already. Yes, Nunu. Yes, grandmas have tons of stuff. My grandma had a beautiful box with buttons, which I inherited. If you, about the texture paste, if you have 3D gloss gel, or if you have 3D matte gel, 3D gloss gel, one of these two, you can easily get some sand from outside. If you live close to the beach, that's even better because you have really pretty sand. If you don't live close to the beach, you can just get some from the sandbox somewhere, and you can create a little bit of the texture paste yourself. If you plan it for one project only, it's maybe not worth to buy the whole container, although there are tubes as well. White sand is in the tubes, so you can get small amount. But if you know that you like the result, like you really like the textures, and you want to play more, it's worth to have a jar or a tube because it goes quickly and you can change color of it by mixing color inside or adding mica powders. So it all depends. If you just want to see how it goes for you and you have, well, one or two of the basic mediums, just make small amount of the paste yourself first and see how you like it, you know, to feel it, how the application goes. And if you like it, then you should buy it, I think. It's not that it's great. Oh, if you don't have sand, you can even put mini art stones inside. Mini art stones, so this very delicate prills. It's going to be bigger texture than mine, but just giving you ideas what you can do. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me tonight, or today for some of you. It was pure pleasure to create for you. And Mia, this is the middle of the night for you, so thank you so much for staying with us. Probably it was quite late. I'm afraid to ask what time is it there where you are. For me, it's 9 p.m. coming, so I guess for Nunu, it is probably 10 p.m. Early. And, you know, process of alteration is great. A great way to exercise techniques because you can try to create effects and use what you have on hand. You don't have to always have specialty products. Of course, I could do that using the rust paste as Anya was asking, or maybe not Anya. Yes, but the result is different. That's probably out of focus, right? Result is a little bit different. So it's good to know different ways. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Photos tomorrow when the deadline. I guess I'm tired. When the daylight is here. Oh, yeah. Brass Arabic coffee pots would be beautiful. They would be beautiful because they have this lovely shape and brass color is amazing. So if you have one or two that you're not going to use anymore, yeah. I have a lot of metal pots because I keep buying them for tea, and some of them they're just transformed into art. Just to show you, comparing a little bit different result. The color palette is similar, but this one is silver, this one is white, and the process was slightly different as well. However, both of them were painted with acrylics, liquid acrylics. Here here we used metallic wax as a finish. Here was more of the matte wax as a finish. If you'd like to see this echo, if you'd like to see the differences, you can check out that video. It's on my YouTube channel. And of course, feel free to tell your friends that you have the most amazing time with me here in the Patreon, and they should absolutely consider joining us and having more fun in our art family. Like I'm master of the promotion now, I guess. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's my big pleasure. Next week we have magical toy shop, so I'm going to do alteration including, or the mixed media project including toys or element of toys or alteration of the toy. I have like 3 different ideas. I have to decide what I don't do. No, your photo won't come out. There was no photo. Was there a photo? No. No. Maybe you have to put in the group, our Facebook group, then we see it. So next week we have that, and then of course we are going to get ready for next mixed media essentials, so different ways to create texture. And we're going to look at the texture paste, stenciling, pressing, and all of that kind of techniques. So that is coming in September, and we are going to have a lot of fun. But maybe in the meantime, I'm hyper energetic today, I think. What was in that tea, really? So maybe in the meantime, I will have another ideas as well. I will keep you updated. And see you soon.